My name Edmond Yakani, Executive Director of Community Empowerment for Progress Organization, known as SEPO, a South Sudanese organization. I also double as the President of East African Civil Society Organization Forum at the level of East African Community Framework. With respect and honor in a constructive manner, I would like to amplify my voice loudly to the attention of leadership in Juba and Kampala. And this is over the recent rise of military confrontation between South Sudan People's Defense Forces and Uganda People's Defense Forces over territorial control in our international borders between South Sudan and Uganda, and mainly at two locations, Magwi County of South Sudan and Kajo-Keji County of South Sudan. And the incidents that we have recorded started since 2019. So there's so many incidences of similar nature that has happened, like what we have seen recently. But through our organizational early warning, I pulled out at least 6 incidences that tells you exactly whether their policy approach from Uganda towards encroachment into South Sudan land or not. And I'm speaking as a civil society activist and as a human rights defender, that clearly through these 6 incidences that I was able to pull out of our early warning system, it shows clearly that there's a mindset in Uganda, and specifically within the Ugandan People's Defense Forces, that they want to encroach into South Sudan land through the 2 entry points, through Magwi County in Eastern Equatoria State and through Kajo-Keji County in Central Equatoria State. Let me share the 6 incidents that I pulled out. One outstanding incident is that on the 29th of July 2022, the government of South Sudan, the government of Uganda, following encroachment of UPDF into Magwi, where they clash with SSPDF, hold a conversation with the Ugandan President, His Excellency Yoweri Museveni's Special Envoy to South Sudan, Betty Ayile. And the discussion reached to the level that they must respect the traditional international boundaries. But unfortunately, these particular discussions outcomes were violated also by the Ugandan People's Defense Forces. Through what? On 20th September 2023, 14 South Sudanese were detained as prisoners following youth from Bori, Boma of Kajo-Keji County, arrested Ugandan youth and Ugandan people who are logging and burning charcoal within the territory of South Sudan in Bori, Boma. The another incident that happened was on 29 September 2023, Ugandan troops reportedly set a base in Bori. The another incident is the 5th October 2023, Kajo-Keji called for opening of a border between South Sudan and Uganda. This is following a clash between South Sudan People's Defense Forces and UPDF after UPDF attacked South Sudan People's Defense Forces. Another incident was on the 4th of November 2024. South Sudan, Uganda and Kenya, through facilitation of East African Community, within the spirit of regional integration, facilitated a peace deal which was signed among the communities of these 3 countries, South Sudan, Uganda, and Kenya, for peaceful coexistence. But that agreement is also violated multiple times by the Ugandan People's Defense Forces by encroaching to either Magwi area or Kajo-Keji area, and mainly Bori is the target in the side of Kajo-Keji and then some parts of Magwi. And another incident happened was 11th August 2024, where UPDF detained 6 South Sudanese in Bori County, where the UPDF claimed Bori is an area belong to them. And we have seen similar incidents happening at the border of South Sudan and Uganda, and why we have seen even construction of infrastructure from Ugandan side encroaching into South Sudan land and claiming that South Sudan land is their land, while the encroachment is undermining and violating the traditional international borders between South Sudan and Uganda. And we have seen the recent one which happened also in Bori. So if we see there's a clear policy strategy from Uganda towards annexing or encroaching to take some land of South Sudan through Bori, Boma of Kajo-Keji County. And the same attempts are also geared towards Magwi, and already we know that they occupy some land in Magwi for farming. So I would like to call upon, with respect and honor, the leadership in Juba and Kampala, that this issue must be taken up seriously, because we are worried that soon our communities at the border of South Sudan and Uganda, specifically the entry point of Magwi and Kajo-Keji, may be heavily militarized, and you may see soon merging of militia groups there, and this may close the borders. But this also comes as a message to our leadership in Juba, in South Sudan, that there's a need for us to focus that this attempt of encroachment into our land is a top national security attack and should be our national security priority number one. So South Sudanese leaders, you see now how you are exposing us with your weak and bad politics, where you embrace violence among yourselves that render us vulnerable to our neighbors. And it's not only Uganda. All our neighbors are encroaching into our land. So should your leadership currently in power be a tool of where makes our neighbors grab our land